met at a skating rink, Perth Avenue skating rink, and there was 5 boys, and each one came up and asked me to skate with them, and I said, first one no, the second one no, third one no, fourth one no. Then my husband came and he asked me, and I said yes. And then that's when we started to go together, when we were 15.
Christmas time, birthdays, because Dad wasn't around too much. He had his own business, so he was always busy with that. Weekends, maybe up at the cottage. He always had an excuse that he was either no work or too much work. The other one, I guess, when I got my electrical license, I worked with him a few times, and we were at Old City Hall, and just walking around there doing lights. I was right up in the very top of the tower, helping him, and all the judges and the policemen all said, "Hi, Ron, hi, Ron." Everybody knew him and loved him.
Close your eyes. Imagine waking up forgetting where your car keys are. You finally find them and go to work. You keep forgetting things during the day. When you are finally finished work, you go to the parking lot to get your car, but you can't remember where you parked it. That's something like what happened to my grandpa. My grandpa was funny, nice, and understanding. My dad tells me that if you were having trouble with your homework or if you had a bully, he would help. My grandpa had a very large family and a lot of friends. He was the nicest guy ever. My grandpa had a disease called Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a disease that causes you to lose your mental and physical functions. It usually affects people 65 and older. It is rare for people in their 40s or 50s to get Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is not normal aging. There's no cure for it, but you can get a treatment that slows down the process. Alzheimer's causes you to have shorter attention span, poor judgment, and makes you makes bad choices. And it causes mood and personality changes and difficulty remembering good friends and family. When my grandpa was dying, my dad would visit him every day in the nursing home from 7 a.m. to about 8 p.m. Then one day my dad got there at 7 a.m. and stayed all the way till 12:10 a.m. just to wish him a happy birthday. When my dad got there at 7 o'clock the next morning, my grandpa had passed away. The nurses came in and told him everything. My grandpa's Alzheimer's had gotten so bad he literally forgot how to breathe. He died on April 23rd, his birthday. He was born April 23rd, 1928. He had Alzheimer's from 54 to 78. That's 22 years. He died when I was only 9 years old. I met him, but I didn't really know him like I know all my friends. It changed my life when he died. I was so upset because I never knew him like my brothers and my dad knew him. I hope nobody has to go through what I had to go through because it's a horrible thing to go through.
When was he diagnosed with Alzheimer's?
Well, when he was 58. He was doing, like, he couldn't work like he used to. He couldn't do things the same way. Like, it was always, oh, we can do it. Like, he had a partner. And it was always, well, we can do it. We can do it. We can do it. You know, he never hesitated. And then all of a sudden it was, he couldn't do it anymore. And that's when I noticed there was a difference in him. You know, just the simplest, because he was an electrician, contractor, and just the littlest things he couldn't do anymore. like screwing on a plate, anything like that he couldn't do. So then I took him to the doctor, and we went down to the hospital and to a psychiatrist, and they discovered it was dementia first, and then it ended up in Alzheimer's. See how he's smiling? Always smiling. Yeah. Oh, he's changed. Oh, now, be good. And this was the one.
Right. Yeah, you got? Yeah.
This is the one that was good to his, especially good to his dad, the older boy.
He was complaining. I get confused and all that, but I mean, I used to take him for walks all the time and go with him and just say, well, Dad, that's normal. I guess he would have been in his early 50s. I mean, it seemed a little strange, but, I said, well, that's just old age. I mean, I'm there now, and now I don't think it's at all, but work, just trying to, get him off edge and, say it's normal aging, and that's what we thought it was at the time. I guess he used to tell stories around the dinner table going to the Don jail, and there's a couple inmates that, in particular, that always liked to, if they knew Dad was coming, they'd volunteer to help him, and he'd have full access to the Don jail, which is down in Toronto. And he had lots of good stories about that, about losing tools and the inmates trying to steal all his knives and that. Lord Thompson of Fleet, the old man, the original Roy Thompson, I guess, to his estate in Mississauga with Dad, and he had two great big German shepherds, and we went down the long driveway, and he wouldn't get out of the truck until the dogs were put away. The gardener was there, Johnny, and he'd get them away for Dad.
He was at the Humber River, had overflowed, and he was working there, and the firemen had, a lot of them died that time. Yeah, that was just over there, and so he never did know that Ron was born. His friend told him, he said, Ron, you have a son. He didn't even know he had a son. But that was him. Always work.
Good contracts. It was even our electric.
He was in a nursing home, in 2 nursing homes actually. And he was always a happy person. He was always singing, and towards the end, he was in a wheelchair. He couldn't eat. He couldn't put the fork to his mouth. Things like that. And so it wasn't a happy time at all.
Do you remember how you felt when he passed away?
I guess mixed feelings. Very the sorrow, just losing, your father. He wasn't really my father, but he was. It's a terrible, terrible disease to have, and I guess also a sense of relief that he was gone, because the way he was living was just, it was fine for him. He didn't know. But for us to see him and his grandchildren, and that just broke our hearts.
I was relieved, because he wouldn't have wanted to live like that, like in a wheelchair, and it was like, I don't have any children. I'm not married. And he would maybe get very angry, which he never, ever did. He was always such a happy person. So he wouldn't have wanted to live like that. He was more like a vegetable towards the end.